So what I want us to do today, listen. What I want us to do today, because you are not circumcised, you are a lioni. You are a lioni. Because you are not circumcised. So what we do, let me tell you the reality of things. And this is why people must really think. Because if we are not careful, within a very short time, the Chinese will own this country.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the only person we can be friendly to is the World Bank. During this period of COVID, the World Bank gave us almost 800 billion shillings. Loans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We've already hit 9 trillion shillings. Okay? In fact, if you want me to be very candid, and you know I like being candid, this administration called the Uhuru Ruto administration of the Jubilee government is a total failure.
Samis.
So, Kevin, what do you think this is?
I think this could be some good decoration. Now that you said you're a fan of good things in life.
This is pipe music.
Come on.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Subeni, ebu yaka ya mziki huyu mtu asikie.
What?
Na uweke sauti kubwa kabisa asikie. So when you're chilling here, you can just...
I see what you're doing there.
When we talk 2022, talk around it is that the handshake might be bearing good tidings for Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and is likely to be endorsed for the top seat. Is it true?
My friend, you know what? Me, I'm very candid.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this to Raila so many times, and I'll tell him, Baba, you know I'm loyal to the core, but respectfully allow me to tell you this. These guys are playing you.
Mm-hmm.
Enough.
And again, you say that a lot of parliamentarians smoke marijuana.
My friend, that's for me to tell you and for you to go and find out. I think everyone smokes marijuana.
Everyone.
One or the other.
So it is not only Governor Sonko and Waititu in the toilet.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do. I've never seen them do it. But it's not a big deal. When you look at even the proposals of BBI, you will see that they are still skewed. And there's this narrative which is really defeative, where people saying nothing is always perfect, nothing is perfect. You know, where these things have been done, these things have been done, and we can actually be able to maybe perfect the document later. It's all bullshit. You know, in fact, this BBI, I can tell you, is nothing but sending money to central Kenya. It is nothing but making sure that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta have a legacy of sending all resources to his people. Forgetting that the people in central Kenya, the Kikuyus, are not only in central Kenya. The Kikuyus are here. Habari yenu?
Nzuri.
Kwa zima?
Kwa mzima wewe.
Na wewe? Niko mzima. Wala naongea juu ya ng'ombe nataka ndume. Hizi ni njao. These are just calves.
Okay.
Hizi ni njao zingine zimekuja. Huwa tunaziamisha. Sasa hii hapa, hii ni kiwanja hii tunatengeneza.
Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for inviting us to your place.
You're welcome.
Such a nice place.
We like the good things in life. Yes.
How you enjoy all this expansiveness?
I love it. This shows you what it means when you take care of nature. When you take care of nature, nature rewards you. This place was a desert. If I show you before pictures, now that you can see what is after, you won't believe it.
Wow.
But I believe in taking care of nature. I started building this farm about 15 years ago. And I'm quite thrilled and I'm happy with the results. So when I come here, I just chill here, listen to cool music, walk around, unwind and think about what I can do to change this country. Yes.
Awesome. And I really love the place, the coolness. What do you intend to come up with, probably here?
Well, the sky is the limit.
Mm-hmm.
I can assure you that God willing, that one day I'll be president of Kenya.
Wow.
And this will be a beautiful just garden where a few friends can be able to come up and just enjoy drinks and really appreciate just being around. Yes.
Awesome. The people of Kenya, they know you as this firebrand, astute leader that they have in the country. But probably there are so many sides of you they don't know, and this being one of them.
One of the things that people don't know about me is that I'm a true conservationist. I love nature. The other thing that I think people do know about me, but if they didn't, then I will let them know, is that I'm not a tribalist. If you walk around, even in my home here, you will find all the people working are from almost all the 42 different ethnic groups. Mbia tore kabisa.
Kabisa. Nayo biore.
Biore.
Hivyo hivyo.
Na magana tayo.
Magana
Sasa wewe unaitwa nani?
Mimi naitwa Mr. Wera.
Ongera.
Mureithi Leonard.
Mureithi Leonard. Irene Maina. Marwanga Hassan. Unaona hapa ni United States of Kenya. Hapa ni ndani ushago kabisa. Charity begins at home. You must love your people. The Maasai people have been stigmatized, traumatized, really extremist measures upon them for many years. Go back to 1911, when the British were here. Now, when the British left, it was intended that Maasais would get back their land. But those who took over from the British have actually made the British look more like philanthropists, you know, because the colonial masters, you know, built roads, they did everything, they left the Maasais to roam around in their own lands. At least even if they stole most of their land, they still gave us some land. So we still have to defend the rights of the Maasai people to own land. And for me, it doesn't matter where you are as a Maasai. If you're in Rombo, if you're in Samburu, if you're in Dile because they're still Maasais, if you're in Narok, if you're in Kajiado, I still have to fight. Or even Ilchamus in Baringo. I still believe that the Maasai have their rights. This is a greater. So when people confuse that, then you still wonder, you know, what is the point of having a saying that says charity begins at home? You need to take care of your home, you need to take care of your environment, so that you can even be able to have a footing. When I wanted to run for office, I started by telling my neighbors here that, gentlemen, ladies, I want to run for office, I need your blessings. When they blessed me, then I could be able to go out there. So when I know that I have the support of my community, then I know the sky is the limit. I can be able to do anything.
Exactly.
You know? So I think the other thing is that I love people. And particularly, I'm touched by the poor people who are struggling. I just didn't come up from an affluent community. I built everything that I have from scratch. I'm touched by the humbleness, the humility on the poor people of Kenya, you know. It doesn't matter which tribe you come from. You know, the poor people are the ones who are suffering. I get text messages on a daily basis. Someone saying, Mheshimiwa, leo tume survive, kesho hatujui kata survive. I want to make sure that all the policies that we pass in this country, you know, support those poor people. The poor people of Mandera, the poor people of Turkana, the poor people of Wajir, the poor people of Samburu, Isiolo. This is where I grew up. Even that house, ile chini iko pale, still part of my house. Yeah, still part of my father's house. And then all this land belonged to us. In fact, this is all mine. From that pole here, you can see that pole, all the way going down.
That way? Up to that particular house?
Yote, mpaka huko chini kwa ile mamiti. All that area.
Wow.
So my cows are down here. I know that this life is very temporary. So I want, if it is possible, all of us to enjoy it. You know? You're not more, just because you have a beautiful three-piece suit, you're not more of a person than any other person wearing their shukas like me. We are all together, we enjoy each other, and we embrace cultures. So that to me is something very key.
Don't go Italian on me. Let's talk your attire. Why do you love adorning it? And recently, I know it caused a lot of jitters in Parliament.
I just want to be in touch and connect with the poor people, because, you know, not everyone can afford your, designer suit. you know, and people want to fit in. You might see a young boy, a young girl who has just finished college, struggling to buy a suit to be able to get a job. No, just wear your shukas. The shukas are cheap, you can afford. You know, they're beautiful with the culture. Go to work with them. You know, why should we just be embracing Western culture and doing away with our traditional culture? So for me, I made it very clear that we must respect cultures. You know, if you're from the Gisi community or the Luo community, I want you to come and visit me with your traditional outfit. Let us talk about tradition. You know, so really, it is the only way that we can remember that would rather live a simple life. You know, a beautiful life in touch with nature. Exactly. So when you go down and you dress traditionally, and you become in touch with your community, then by all means, you are showing the people out there that I respect you for who you are. And the Maasais must be respected for who they are, because they are the people who bring in millions of dollars into this country through tourism revenue. So we want the world to know, and we want there's no point of us pretending out there. It is like, let me tell you, it is like we are only Kenyan when we are winning races. But when it comes to politics, we are not Kenyans. It is everybody for himself and God for us all. So we want to make sure that at least all of us can be one thing. Yes.
There are a lot of Maasai cultures that I need you to demystify a little bit. I know you love this culture so much.
Kabisa.
There's this part yenye wanasema kudunga mkuki kwa mlango. What does it mean? Probably that I hear. This is what I hear.
Tell me what you hear.
When probably I visit a Maasai family, I walk with a spear. Nikifika pale, if there are 3 or 4 bombers, and then I think I choose some beautiful lady for myself. Now I pick a house and dunga the spear outside the house, which symbolizes the fact that if you come here, hapa ndani iko biashara inaendelea. Don't disturb.
Do not disturb.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. And that's the reason why people must appreciate each one's culture and allow us to tell our story. The problem is that our story has always been told by someone else. It is about time that we now tell our story. And I'll explain to you what that means. We believe in age groups and age sets, okay, and clans. So when I come into your home, I come in and I'm invited by guests, by the, you know, the owners of the home. The first question you ask me is that, what is your name? I say, my name is so and so. You ask the son of so and so, and my mother is the daughter of so and so, and I'm of this age group. Once we've done all that introduction and you know which age group I belong to, then you will tell me, go to that house. That house is for your age mate. So when I go to that house, of course our houses are small, so I cannot enter with a spear. I put the spear outside there. So if you are my age mate and you're not at home, when you come home, you'll realize there's somebody who has come to visit you. And then you'll call out from outside and say, Nagara.
Nagara.
This is like, you know, it's like, it's calling the family, saying watoto, which means it's your wife, your children.
Your wife is part of your kids?
It's part of your children.
Okay.
Because you take care of them.
Okay.
So they will all say, Yeo. Then I would come out, because now I've heard you, because you will not call me because you don't know who is there. So I'll come out and then I'll introduce myself to you. We'll talk. And in most cases, we are polygamous. So then I'll say, okay, no problem. In future. So then we'll say, okay, you, anyway, you, Karibu. This is your house. You can spend the night here. And then tomorrow, then we can get to know each other. Then I will go to my other house, because I probably have 1, 2, 3 houses. You know, then I will not bother you. You'll spend the night there. You'll have a room. You'll spend the night there. In the event that you become mischievous, but it's quite seldom that you will become mischievous, because kids are in that house as well. So you'll just sleep in. You'll have your bed. The mother will sleep with the children in the other bed. But I mean, you know, this is nature. You know, you can go somewhere, become mischievous, you talk, you get to know each other. Maybe in the middle of the night, you sneak out and you get a shot. Who cares? You move on.
When we talk 2022, talk around it is that the handshake might be bearing good tidings for Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and is likely to be endorsed for the top seat. Is it true?
My friend, there's one guy who said, you can rent a Kikuyu, but you cannot buy them. We are leasing them right now to support us, and we are supporting them on this BBI thing. But they will never, ever, and mark my word, they will never support Raila. Masais will die with Raila to the man. But tutabaki sisi wote tukisema resist. They will not.
He is in for a root shock.
In for a root shock. These guys are not honest. They're not.
Why do you say so?
Everything they do. You know, it's rather unfortunate. Let me put it this way. If they were to support Raila, right now we have a big case, we have a big struggle with a big piece of land called Kidong Ranch, which we believe is our land. We have spoken to Raila, Raila has spoken to Uhuru, but of course they will never ever agree to let it go.
Is this a wake-up call from you to Raila?
You know what, me, I'm very candid. And I've said this to Raila so many times, and I'll tell him, Baba, you know I'm loyal to the core, but respectfully allow me to tell you this. These guys are playing you. Enough. Listen. What I want us to do today, because you are not circumcised, you are a lioni. You are a lioni. Because you are not circumcised. So what we do, we go to the river, it's called Olodare. We come all the way walking up to there. And then, because now his father is too old, his father is around 80 something. He's the one who, you know, you come there butt naked, and then you sit down, he supports your back. Okay? For you.
I can be a doctor.
Okay? So now, this guy is going to be Oldoroboni.
Yeah.
He's going to be Andorobo.
Yes.
And I say, no? My Turiana Maudi. Then, Nigel, you'll sit down. Can I demonstrate? Show you. And then we'll take your. We take your.
I'm told when if you call a Maasai, a friend of mine told me that when you greet them as Ero Soba and they are circumcised is wrong.
It's very bad because you don't know unless it's your age mate. You know, but if you're just calling somebody Ero Soba, you're calling him an uncircumcised boy. How are you? So I grew up in this place, and this was the school that I went to.
This is your primary school?
Primary school.
Which year was this?
Way back in the 80s. Then in the 90s I went to high school, and then I graduated, I think, in 1993. So when I was sitting down, I thought, what would be the best thing that I can be able to do to help this place? This was just a day school. So we have kids coming from Molenko Mei, Olo Seneto. We have people coming from all the way up to Sakutiek. So I decided the best thing to do is to put up a dormitory for them. So I started building this dormitory. This dormitory is quite large. The capacity is for almost 200 students. But now we're going to cut it down into 2. Make it at least 100 because of Corona. So later on, I went to the university in America. I went to, the first university that I went to was the University of Kentucky. And then after going to Kentucky, I went to Fort Lewis College, and then I went to the University of Massachusetts in Boston. So that's why I went to school.
Exactly.
Yes.
What were you studying?
I studied political sciences and journalism, and a bit of law. And then from there, I did several other things. I did accounting. I did public relations. You know, I wanted to be an all-rounded person, understanding all aspects of accountability, public policy. I did some public policy as well. Yeah.
Where did you land your first job?
In 1994,
Mhm.
just immediately after graduating from high school, I started working for Reuters, and we started a program called Africa Journal. We've got a few news anchors, we've got a few radio personalities like Carol Radul. We used to do voiceover for most of our programs. I started really basically as a newsman, and I just used to be a newsroom assistant. And then would go out and do features and collecting stories. I also started as a sound man. There's a fellow called Abdul who still works for Camera Picks. And Camera Picks, I don't know whether you remember the famous Mohammed Amin,
Yeah.
the guy who died in a plane crash.
The owner, I
in
think,
Ethiopia.
of A24 Media or something?
Yeah, A24 Media and stuff like that. So he used to be the producer of of Africa Journal, which was sponsored by Reuters, and then used to be aired by KTN, and then other, airlines and also international communities, and then from there, I had a huge connection with a gentleman called Gerard Williams, who eventually almost adopted me to be his Maasai son. He's actually Welsh. And he helped quite a lot. And then even when I went to the US, I used to work in the UK. I'd work for Sky News. I did some production, actually. I did some self-authored reporting, where I came and reported really, really good programs. I worked for European News. I worked for RTL Channel 4. And then I worked for another one called Diverse Production. That was all in the UK. So it was all about media. It was all about production.
When do you hang the boots in the newsrooms?
Never. Never. I actually own a media house in Narok. And I hope that soon we'll venture into more production. And then we do content production. It's all about creating jobs for people. Because just imagine if I can be able to recruit about 100 youth in Narok and send them into different directions, give them even smartphones to be able to go and collect news for me, do stories about their culture, go back into the culture, and they do stories. Very soon, TV stations in Kenya would not be airing outside content. They would focus on local content, and that's what is going to help this country. Yes.
What's the name of your media?
Sidai Media Group.
Sidai.
Yes.
Yes. So when do you transition and decide that I want to go now for a political seat, probably in the land?
In 2008, I got a chance to volunteer in the Obama campaign, and then I developed a lot of interest, and I made a lot of phone calls to people to vote for him. And I remember I couldn't vote in the US, but at least I had friends who would pick up a call and say, vote, vote, vote. And at that point, I started seeing what was going on in Kenya. And I could tell that people were yearning for change. We were fighting to get a new constitution, and we didn't get one until 2010. At that time, in fact, I had even decided that I was going to run for president. I remember I came into the country, spent quite a lot of money, went around with Boniface Mwangi as my cameraman, took pictures. When I got to Kisumu, I had a hall full of people. When I started talking to these people about the change, what we were going to do, how we were going to change the country, I could see that the desire was there. But immediately after I finished, everyone started saying, Gonya, Gonya. Gonya, Gonya. And I'm sure if you ask Boniface Mwangi that story, he'll tell you, we were nearly killed because we didn't give money. So at that point, I even questioned myself. I said, really, is this necessary? So I said, you know what, to hell. Then we got the new constitution. Then, of course, we now got counties. And then I was still back in the US. I was working. I'm a philanthropist, another thing. I've done a lot of work to help the community, help young girls go to school. And, and then I thought about the whole journey. And I said, instead of creating a dependency, why not, work towards bringing change where you can influence change, because you can be a philanthropist, you can give money, you can support people, but unless you're able to change policy, there's no meaningful change that you will bring into that society.
Exactly.
So then I decided in December 2012 that I was going to run for governor of Narok. I did my campaign in 3 months. It was too late. But that now taught me a lot. And then from that moment, I started now agitating for so much change, because I could see people wanted change, people wanted accountability. And that's when in 2017, I managed to run for the office, and I managed to be elected as the Senator of Narok. And I can say I have been so diligent in my work. I've done everything that needs to be done. I mean, not everything. I've done a lot. I've put my foot in the ground.
A time comes when I see Ledama in a playing field in Lithuania. And the call from this field was that we need to legalize this plant, they say, weed.
If this is good, either to reduce the pain of cancer patients, and we know how cancer is killing people in Kenya, why not legalize it?
Why so?
I believe that we should legalize marijuana in this country for medical purposes and for industrial purposes. Rwanda has legalized marijuana for industrial purposes. We now need to legalize marijuana for medical use. When you take that marijuana plant and you dissect it, it's made up of so many chemicals. And all those different chemicals and ingredients which makes up the plant of marijuana, some of them are very good for pain relief. Let me tell you, this issue is very personal to me. That is why I speak about marijuana. It is very personal to me. When I was growing up, I used to suffer epileptic. I had a condition called petit mal epileptic, where I'll be talking to you and I'll just go into space. Pop. And I believe marijuana treated me. So when I say it's very personal, I mean it.
Was it manufactured or?
Well, I don't know.
Or
I just
piped?
know if it was piped is good, but it comes in all different forms. Cookies, you know, medicine, oils, you know. In fact, next time when you come, I'll show you a shoe made of marijuana.
Wow.
So you'll love it.
Why not
So
today?
it's good for commercial purposes and everything else. Yes.
And again, you say that a lot of parliamentarians
Oh yes,
smoke marijuana.
my friend. That's for me to tell you and for you to go and find out. I think everyone smokes marijuana.
Everyone.
One or the other. Kwanza the youth. If you go to Kondole, if you go to Migori, if you go to Nairobi, if you go to all these big parties, everyone smokes marijuana. So just legalize it. Yeah.
So it is not only Governor Sonko and Waititu in the toilet.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do. I've never seen them do it. But it's not a big deal. It's a plant that God, created in this world. It wasn't manufactured in a lab somewhere. It grows in the wild. So, hey, enjoy it.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
At last.
Okay. When Senator Ledama is not in his full leadership regalia, what does he do during his free time?
My friend, I'll tell you. I chill, listen to my music. I enjoy a lot of barbecue. I enjoy friends. Take a little wine here and there. And just chill. I also belong to some investment group of young people who I mentor the youth. So when they come to me, I tell them, now we'll go into this direction. And I put my seed money into it. They put theirs, and I help them develop. I also really enjoy traveling. I really do. I travel around the world to be able to see. Because in Masai, we have a saying that says, when you go out, you're able to see how people have developed. You come back, and you're able to become pragmatic. It is not about just sticking here and doing everything the way things are done here. You've got to bring in certain aspects from outside.
What have you brought from outside, from your travels to your people?
A lot of things.
Uh-huh.
I sponsored over 25,000 girls to go
Mhm.
to school,
Wow.
primary school, secondary, and also university in America.
25?
Over 25,000.
25,000?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That is for a period of about 10 years. Now they're working, they're doing all different things. Number two, we're also going to be opening the first milk plant in Narok,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something I brought from outside. I also brought in technology. I was the first person to bring internet to Narok.
Wow.
My internet was being beamed from a place called Pampana Bay in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and the internet there was faster than African Online, which is the one which was giving people internet in Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
It was coming from the uplink, was from a company in Pampana Bay, Florida, and then the downlink was a company in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to open labs and, be able to bring in computers to teach the community and to allow them to learn. I can
Mhm.
tell you a lot of people learn computers in Masailand from my computer labs.
Wow.
Yes.
Umefurahia moto? Sasa wacha nikutafutie drink. Ndio ufurahi. Unakunywanga nini wewe? What do you drink?
Mimi labda maziwa.
Au kunywa pombe? Unakunywa maziwa. Lakini unakunywa maji pia. Haya, utapatiwa maziwa. Nilikuwa tunataka kujua kama wewe umekuwa mkora. Nilikuwa nataka sasa hapa inaitwa Olemoti.
Olemoti.
Yeah. Hapa ni mahali unakaa na wazee wanakupa ma ideas. This is advice den.
This is it.
Yes.
I thought hapa ni mahali unaweka mbavu kidogo.
Hapana. Mbavu inatengenezwa huko nje bwana, huko mahali huko mzuri. Hapa ni mahali ya kukaa tu na wazee kukula lomon.
Hapa ni wisdom.
Alafu unakula chakula kidogo.
When you look at even the proposals of BBI, you will see that they are still skewed. And there is this narrative which is really defeative, where people saying nothing is always perfect, nothing is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Where, these things have been done, and we can actually be able to maybe perfect the document later. It's all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this BBI, I can tell you, is nothing but sending money to central Kenya. It is nothing but making sure that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta have a legacy of sending all resources to his people.
Mm-hmm.
Forgetting that the people in central Kenya, the Kikuyus, are not only in central Kenya. The Kikuyus are here.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Narok. Go to my construction site here. The Fundis who are there are Kikuyus. They live in Narok. Go to Lamu, where this BBI will take away money from Lamu.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the amendment to Article 2 or 3 of the Constitution, one of them, I think it's N or K, it says that when you're dividing money, you make sure that, not one single county or get 3 times what the other county is getting in terms of population of people. But you cannot compare the population in Lamu and the population in Kiambu.
Mm-hmm.
The population in Lamu is 143,000. The population in Kiambu is 2.1 million. So even if you're to divide 1 billion shillings for 2.1 million people, and you divide 1 billion shillings to 143 people, of course the 143,000 people will get more money.
Exactly.
Look at the land. So it boils down to what I told you,
Mm-hmm.
that from the onset, you've got to see how development has come from the time the British colonial masters left
Mm-hmm.
to where we are. If these people would have made this process to be a process where it is owned by all Kenyans,
Mm-hmm.
I would not have any beef with it. I would support it entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But as we speak right now, it doesn't speak for me.
Mhm.
Because when they take money from Lamu, when they take money from Samburu, it affects the people who live there.
Exactly. Are you saying in other words that this is not a good document for Kenyans?
It has been marketed as a very good document.
Mm-hmm.
Been marketed as a very good document. But in reality, it is all about the Benjamins. It is all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a perfect environment, but if you do not have money to be able to get water to maintain that environment, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me tell you the reality of things. And this is why people must really think. Because if we are not careful, within a very short time, the Chinese will own this country.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the only person we can be friendly to is the World Bank. During this period of COVID, the World Bank gave us almost 800 billion shillings. Loans. Okay? We've already hit 9 trillion
Yeah.
shillings. Okay? In fact, if you want me to be very candid, and you know I like being candid, this administration called the Uhuru Ruto administration of the Jubilee government is a total failure.
Samis.
Total failure.
Why do you say Chinese will own Kenya?
Because, one, look at what is happening with Kenya Power and Lighting as an example. Okay? Kenya Power and Lighting right now operates in a deficit of 120 billion shillings. Okay? Kenya Ports Authority, okay, is the only one that really gives us money. But you can hear a lot of skirmishes going on because do you think the Chinese would be stupid to just loan you money and they have nothing in collateral? We have been arguing that we believe that our Kenya Ports Authority, or rather our ports of entry, is the collateral given to the Chinese. If we cannot afford to pay them, don't you think they'll take it away?
Is it so?
Now, I'll put it this way. All state corporations will be owned by foreign entities. All state corporations will be owned by other local banks, which are very clever. The National Oil Corporation will soon be owned by KCB Bank. Kenya Power and Lighting Company will be owned soon by Equity Bank and Stanchart. And let me tell you why. Equity Bank has loaned Kenya Power and Lighting almost 600, I think, $66 million. $66 million. How much is that?
That's close to
600
60 billion.
No. So it's about, yes, around 60 billion. With almost 66 billion, 66 or whatever billion, on an interest rate of 6.5%. That is, you're not borrowing money in Kenya shillings, you're borrowing on dollars. It is because it is, if it is 5% plus liable of 1.5%. Nowhere. If you go to the UK right now, when you borrow money is 1% or 1.5%. The cost of borrowing is very low. But now when you're borrowing at 6.5%, it is like borrowing with the Kenya shillings at a rate of about 16 or 17% because of the fluctuation rate of the dollar. So don't you think that if I were the minister right now, to be able to save that corporation, the first thing you will do is you will go to the either Chinese or you go to the World Bank and borrow money so that you can do away with these concessional loans and you'll be able to take these long-term loans. So that is the reason why I'm telling you, soon this country will be owned by foreigners. And that is why it is about time that Kenyans start asking serious questions, not just agreeing. You know, you don't just agree to vote for a particular thing. You don't agree to do something. We're okay the way we are. Now we need to be able to realign our existing resources and build our economy. That's what we need to do.
I think whatever you're saying also has a trickle-down effect. And of course, the number of unemployed youths by the day is ballooning. What do you make of the situation?
We can change that.
How?
We can change that. If we invest fully in devolution, we can change that. In this area, I can guarantee you that by next year, we'll create at minimum 100 direct jobs and over 2,000 indirect jobs. We need to learn on how to trade among each other. We need to embrace the culture of living within our means. Right now, we are living out of our, what do you call it? We are living beyond our means. It's not possible. The youth, we need to be able to inculcate a culture of care, where even if we fix our roads and the youth have got their own lands, we can be able to give money to them and actually help them be able to produce their products, and then we add value. That's what the government should be doing. In fact, the only thing that I can tell you that the president has done well, which I agree, because I'm always a critic. If you do something well, I congratulate you for having done it. When he took over the Kenya Meat Commission and he gave it to the military, they paid off their bills because it was proper management. Okay? That's what we need. With proper management, we can be able to increase employment opportunities to youth. You know, we also need to be able to really fund counties and encourage youth to be able to work. The other thing also, we need to be creative. Yesterday when I was coming, I was talking to a friend of mine called Nigel, and he told me that his brother focuses on scaffoldings. Okay? If the youth can now start thinking outside the box, when buildings have got to be painted, you need the ladder. That's a business that one youth can invest in. You also, those ones who want to be able to pour the concrete, they can also invest in that, so that there is specialization of labor. But the problem we have now is that Joe wants to do everything. He wants to be the mason, he wants to be the carpenter. So he end up not doing anything good because he's not qualified in being a carpenter, neither is he be qualified in being a mason. So for now, let's have division of labor and specialization. That will help us. Let's have John dealing with scaffolding. You know, if you want to lease scaffoldings for painting, or you need prop jacks to be able to pour concrete, you can go to Mary there, you can go to Jack, and you lend and you lease them. You know, so that we don't have to continue destroying the environment. So that's my take.
I believe the current environment is not even good for business for our youths, and all they say is, where do I get the capital? Where's the hope for them, especially from you as the leaders?
I see a lot of hope. And I want to encourage the youth that to continue asking a lot of questions. As a person who believes in working so hard, I'm one of those people who believe that when you keep going for what you believe in, you'll be able to achieve. The problem we have now is that the youth, they get so distracted, partying all the time, you know, party all the time. If you party all the time, of course, you're not going to be able to achieve anything. So just be serious, and you'll find this. Some people who are very poor, you know, have risen from where they are, they work, they don't want to live beyond their means, and they succeed. So I just want to encourage the youth that when you look into the future, think about what you can do to better yourself. And when you are electing leaders, don't elect a leader because of gonya. Tokenism. No. Elect a leader because you know he can be able to assist you, be able to better yourself. Right now, when it comes to the healthcare, as a matter of principle, every youth in this country should actually apply for the NHIF card and pay that little money. Go do kibarua. But make sure you've protected your health. Get that NHIF card. So at least when you get sick, you don't have to call for Harambes all the time. You can get some part of your money paid for by the National Health Insurance Fund. But some of those, instead of them actually going in and paying the 1,000 shillings required for you to get that card, you know, you go in and you decide to buy a joint and start smoking.
Recently, there's been a proposal, or rather I would say that all employed Kenyans need to pay an employment tax. What do you make of it?
Total bullshit. That's what I say. You don't punish me for working hard for you to reward somebody who doesn't work. I've never seen that anywhere in the world where you are taxing me and you put in an employment tax so that you can be able to give money to somebody else. No. What the government should be doing is to create enablers. You create an enabling environment for people to be able to work. Not everyone will be employed by the county government or the national government, but create an enabling environment for people to be able to work. What do I mean by that? Number one, the BBI talks about a tax holiday. I disagree. I think it's really not the right way to go. I think what the BBI should do is that instead of saying we'll give a 7-year tax holiday, what the BBI should say is that anyone who wants to invest, we will waive all the taxes. Your duty, your VAT, your rail tax, your, what do you call it? Your IDF, import declaration duty, to enable you import things cheaply from outside the country, bring them here, set up a plant, employ local people, and you work. Number two, when you buy a vehicle in this country, that vehicle, most people drive vehicles here, they think they're new cars. They're old cars. You see a car with a new number plate, it's an old car. In fact, the price of that vehicle that you're buying If it's a small Pro Box that a lot of our local people use, when it leaves Japan, and remember it has been used in Japan for like a year or two, or sometimes even 5 years, or maximum 7 years, So you get a car coming from Japan that has been used on the road for 7 years. In Japan, it is sold at $1,500. That's 150,000 shillings. But by the time someone like a gentleman called Oleire buys it, it is 750,000 shillings. Why? Because when it is imported, number one, there is 35% duty, which is put on that. So take 1,500 plus 35%. Then the figure you get at 35%, you charge another 16% on top. Then the new figure that you get at 16%, you put another 25% excise duty. Then on top of that, the new figure you put an IDF duty. After the IDF duty, you put the rail duty, and then you put the markup. So a car which could have been sold at 1,500 shillings, it is now sold at 7,500. You see where the danger is? So we either choose to make it easy that we have made the rails, we have made public transportation, and we make it impossible for anyone to import a car. Or we allow people to import the cars, new cars, not used cars. Because what we are doing now in this country is that we are converting Kenya into a dumping zone. You get my point? Dumping zone. In fact, if I was president, I will ban all the importation of second-hand cars. Ban them completely. And then do away with all the duty on new cars. And encourage also insurance companies and encourage financial institutions to give loans. Number two, what I would do to change this economy is very simple. If you look at what President Kibaki did and revive this economy, I wonder why these guys ran away from it. Is it because they are interested? Is it because they own banks? What Kibaki did was that he reduced the treasury bills or the treasury bonds interest, treasury bills interest, TBs, from 10% to like 1%. So now that forces the banks to lend monies to wananchis. Now banks do not want to lend monies to wananchis because it is risky. So what do? They go to where it is so secure. They lend the money to the government. First of all, force local banks to lend monies to the wananchi with low interest rates, completely. Why should I be getting money from the World Bank at 1.5% and I come now and lend that money to you at the same 2% on a monthly basis? So by the end of the year, I'm lending that money to you in what? 24%. So that is the problem. We need to look at the economy wide, and we need to understand that we don't need to be so rich, billionaires. We are creating very few billionaires and very many poor people. That is the problem. Yes.
Is corruption a dragon we have to live with?
Unfortunately, corruption starts from the top there, mpaka chini.
Na huko top si binguni. Top
Hapana,
leadership ya country.
it's in the presidency. That's where the corruption is. Na inakuja mpaka hapa chini. Yes.
Will we ever slay this dragon?
Impossible.
What do you make of the talk around the Tanga and Kieleweke?
Ask them, I don't know about that. I'm not Tanga and I'm not Kieleweke. I'm ODM, period.
Done.
You too.
Recently there's been talk around PEV, that's the post-election violence after 2007 elections.
Big mistake. Big mistake. We should be talking about implementing the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation report.
The president and the DCI seem to be speaking from different fronts.
That's why I'm saying it's a big mistake. The most important thing is for us to heal, to talk, to embrace one another. When I'm Masai and you're Kisi, let's be friends and we live together peacefully. That's the most important thing. Because we'll trade among each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let bygones be bygones.
Completely.
Yes. Is the Uhuru Ruto administration a hit or a miss?
It's a miss. It's a total failure. Complete failure. Complete failure because of the following. One, in 2013, Kenya Power and Lighting had 10 billion shillings in their account. In 2017, Kenya Power Lighting Company is operating on a deficit of 120 billion shillings. Number 2, Kenya Pipeline Corporation had money. Now Kenya Pipeline Corporation owes billions of shillings to contractors who they have never paid. Number 3, go to Kenya Medical Research, this one called KEMSA. You know, there are billions, people who are being paid for nothing. They never supplied anything. KEMSA Act was amended so that it becomes mandatory for everyone, every county, to purchase their drugs from KEMSA. So when you come up with policies that just helps you, that helps you line your pocket, you know, it's a total miss. You're not thinking. And finally, Nairobi City County. All the money which are now developing Nairobi through NMS, they are not from the budget. Where is that money coming from? Where is that money coming from? The law is very clear. Section 109 of the Public Finance Management Act states clearly that all money should go into a consolidated, the County Revenue Fund account. Number 2, Article 217, all the way to 219, talks about how money should leave the national government to come to the county government. In fact, 219 is very clear and explicit. It says no money should be deducted from the share of revenue that goes into the county governments. That means if we want to transfer functions as per Article 189 of the Constitution, what we do is that let us put together measures on how money can be transferred to the NMS without violating the Constitution. So if we are strict and we want to help people follow the rule of law, let us not victimize people for the sake of it. You know, or say, like now this impeachment motion which is being brought for Sonko, I think it's completely ill-advised. It is completely ill-advised because I think what NMS should be doing and what the president should be doing is sitting down with Sonko and saying, okay, you've transferred these functions. Can we now agree together how the money will be transferred to this function? And legally, and I dare anyone else to come out with any other reasoning, the only way that that money can be transferred is if the money gets to Sonko, then Sonko writes a check to NMS and say, carry out this function, unless you amend the Constitution.
Come 2022, shouldn't then Kenyans look at Dr. William Ruto to right the wrongs?
You know, I'm not here to tell Kenyans who they should vote in 2022. I'm here to tell Kenyans that in 2022, vote for ideas but not for money. Period.
When we talk 2022, talk around it is that the handshake might be bearing good tidings for Right Honorable Raila Odinga and is likely to be endorsed for the top seat. Is it true?
My friend, there's one guy who said, you can rent a Kikuyu but you cannot buy them. We are leasing them right now to support us. And we are supporting them on this BBI thing. But they will never, ever, and mark my word, they will never support Raila. Masais will die with Raila to the man. But tutabaki sisi wote tukisema resist. They will not.
He is in for a root shock.
In for a root shock. These guys are not honest. They are not.
Why do you say so?
Everything they do. You know, it's rather unfortunate. Let me put it this way. If they were to support Raila, right now we have a big case, we have a big struggle with a big piece of land called Kidong Ranch, which we believe is our land. We have spoken to Raila, Raila has spoken to Uhuru, but of course they will never ever agree to let it go.
Is this a wake-up call from you to Raila?
You know what, me, I'm very candid. And I've said this to Raila so many times, and I'll tell him, Baba, you know I'm loyal to the core. but respectfully allow me to tell you this. These guys are playing you. Enough. Yeah.
So, what the BBI proponents are clearly stating is that this particular document will bring equality. They're saying that it's something Kenyans need to adopt majorly because of the inclusivity part. Will it achieve that?
There's no inclusivity. That's all bullshit. There's nothing like that.
Why do you say so?
Because it's not. If you wanted to be if you wanted the document to be sort of like inclusive, it talk about inclusivity or to include everybody, then you should have divided all the top seats and say, if one person is from Central, the other one is from Nyanza, the other one is from Rift Valley, the other one is from this, or is from a smaller community, because we still have these indigenous communities. We can't run away from that. I know my party leader keeps talking about one Kenya, we do away with tribalism. We can't. We cannot. Because we are tribals within our bones. Let us be honest. I'm Masai first before I'm Kenyan. You know, I'll soon become Kenyan because of embracing the, you know, but I can only become Kenyan completely when you and I understand my needs. But if you do not understand my needs, then how do I become that? See, I'll be lying.
Exactly.
You know, the problem with me, I say things that most people want to say, but they're afraid of saying. So I want to encourage them to be bold enough and say, don't insult somebody, but just speak your mind.
Do you envision a time when probably Kenya will have a president from a minority community?
Absolutely.
But not with the BBI?
And that is, no, not with BBI. No. That is when we now believe in meritocracy, but not tribalism. Merit, you reward merit. You see that this person can be able to bring in change. This person can be able to help your country develop. Reward that person. But don't reward somebody because of his size of his pocket. That's the problem.
What do you think can be the thing that can really unite Kenyans? Is it
one,
is
when
it
we respect each other's culture, that's number one. When we embrace each other's culture, then that diversity of the different cultures makes us very strong. I love this country called Kenya. It's a very rich country. But if we are not careful, my friend, we will really go down the drains. We have to respect one another. We do not respect authority in this country. We do not respect the poor people. Right now, every leader should be talking about, how do I get a better road for my people? How do I get a better hospital for my people? You know, how do we make sure that when we open schools, we can be able to open these schools and all our kids will be able to maintain social distance and they'll benefit. That is what we should be thinking now.
The hustler nation?
You know, no, it's not about the hustler nation or anything. We should be thinking about, I don't believe in those terminologies. I want to see the poor people benefiting. That's all I care about. And I want us to leave Nairobi. That's why you see, me, I'm here. Hapa nyumbani, wengine saizi wako Karen, wanakunywa huko, wengine wako Runda, kila mahali. A good constitution is one which is not written by politicians. But unfortunately, there's a lot of interest. A lot of interest.
Are there any parliamentary initiatives that probably could be tweaked to make sure that Kenyans are not subjected to a referendum?
My friend, are you the only visitor in Jerusalem? These guys are determined to pass that document the way it is. So our job is to tell our people what that document means to them. Because it will now go to the assemblies. When the assembly passes it, the speakers bring it to the National Assembly and the Senate. If we pass it, it goes to the president. Then it's a referendum. And then it's a vote. If it passes through, bas,
It's a done deal.
the document is a done deal. Then we can continue amending, but we told you, and I'm going to tell them. But no one is going to coerce me to vote for something that I don't believe in. No one.
Exactly. Since Timama passed on, who's taking over as king?
There's nothing like that, my friend. Yeah. There's absolutely nothing like that. Every leader who is elected must continue to do work for their people without thinking of being glorified and being made a spokesperson of the community. Everyone should be the spokesperson of the Maasais. Every Maasai leader should be a spokesperson of the Maasais. Because when you see something affecting a Maasai in Samburu, talk about it. And that is why I told you on this BBI nonsense, the money is being taken away from Samburu. They will suffer. Those are our people. We must support them. Okay? So this issue of a Maasai spokesperson, it's a creation of the media. Okay? No one went and made Ntimama the Maasai spokesperson. It was his action, what he spoke for, what he did. You know, Ntimama drank Maasai, smoked Maasai, slept Maasai, you know, walked Maasai, everything. Everything he talked about was to be able to uplift the standard of living of our people. So if we can do that, so be it.
But I have a feeling you're taking in his shoes.
No, I'm wearing my own shoes. You can tell. I'm just wearing simple shoes. Yes.
Probably at the end of the day, are we likely to see you go for the gubernatorial seat or something?
Yero, I am a senator now.
Uh-huh.
I want to remain as a senator. I want to work as a senator until 2022. In 2022, I will decide. I might even decide to go for president. So I might decide to quit politics if I don't like it. I might decide to go for any other position. But right now, we're not campaigning for any position. We just continue doing work.
Exactly.
So let me work on my project now. Let me continue helping the community. And then slowly by slowly, when that time comes, and I'll speak to the good Lord, and he will direct me whichever way he wants to.
Exactly. There was this time, I think, when we were having the CPAC elections. Yeah. What happened?
My friend, you don't want to know.
I want to know.
You will read that in my memoir. I will not tell you that.
Come on.
I'm serious. You will read that in my memoir.
Why not?
Because it's very juicy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It is very juicy.
Just squeeze a little bit juice for me.
It was an ego issue. Period. That's the answer for you.
It's done.
Yeah.
And settled.
Done.
Awesome.
But you will read the details in my memoir, God willing.
Okay. I sure will. I'll be waiting for that one.
Okay.
What is your biggest political lesson this far?
Betrayal.
It had to be it.
Betrayal. Yes.
Have you been betrayed before?
CPAC chairmanship, I was betrayed.
Let me wait for the memoir.
Wait for the money. Yeah.
What else?
Patience. And when you become a leader, the way you perceive things is very different.
What do you think is your strongest trait that guides you in each and every decision that you make as a leader?
Honesty. Okay. And saying as it is and not sugarcoating anything. Yes. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Final remarks from
you. Let me put it this way. We're at crossroads as a country. And it's about time that we make decisions which we know will be able to impact the future generations. Our people are dying. The level of suicide in this country has gone high because of the economic effect. COVID is real. And we have to be alive to the fact that COVID is going to be here to stay with us. We need to be able to be our brother's keepers and to support each other. I want us to shift our own personal interest into the interest of the poor people. I get so many text messages on a daily basis. Someone calling me, telling me, please, just send me 500 shillings for me to buy food for my children for a week. They even do the calculation. I'll buy these at this price, I'll buy these at this price. Those are the things that we should be thinking about as a country. But I want to assure Kenyans that maybe it's just time that we start looking at another alternative. We move away from the norms and we go to the extraordinary. Every day as I travel, I meet people. And the stories that they share with me make me understand that leadership or wanting to bring in change is not a competition between two individuals. It should be a competition between ideas. If I have the best ideas, give me an opportunity to be able to serve you. This country is a very rich country. That is why all the foreigners now want to live in this country. Those who have so much have so little, yet those who have so little have so much. You know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of wealth here. We just need to realign our existing resources and bring in that change. And I want to appeal to all the governors. Instead of enriching themselves, please remember the poor people who vote for you to be there.
Well said.
Asante.
Thank you, Senator.
Aya.